So, former Major League Baseball superstar Alex Rodriguez is bringing a space company public. This is not one I would have had on my bingo card 5 years ago. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Dave. Today I wanted to take a look at a odd piece of news, the latest space company to go public via SPAC, a trend I thought was mostly dead, but apparently not, because another one is jumping on the bandwagon here. We have Link coming public via SPAC, making a deal with the company set up by Alex Rodriguez to go public. Now, A-Rod, yes, used to be a very big baseball player. He started dabbling into the world of business a fair bit more, from what I understand. Saw him on Shark Tank for a while there, or Dragon's Den, one of those two. Yeah, just very odd story. But Link is a company I have actually talked about a few times previously, so I thought it would make sense for me to share this news story with you, as well as my thoughts about it. And what Link Global does is direct satellite to cell phone service with no middleman like that Starlink antenna. Although from what I understand, Starlink will very soon be starting to launch satellites themselves with the capability of communicating directly to handsets as well. So, it's a company that's been around for quite a while. It has some partnerships with telecoms, and, you know, a lot of attention is being put on it right now. So the question becomes, should you consider investing? There's still a lot more steps in the SPAC process. We haven't really gotten an investor presentation yet. Spoiler alert, I'm going to go ahead and say that no, you should definitely not invest in this, at least not for the first year. Personally, I wouldn't invest in any SPAC for the first year at this point. I would have to watch them go public and perform for at least a year before I'd feel comfortable investing. I've just seen too many cases where these things have gone wrong, hurt the retail investors. Meanwhile, the sponsors like the A-Rods and the Chamaths of the world get rich in the meantime. Before we dive into this more deeply, I hope you will consider subscribing by the end of the video. Every subscriber helps so much to continue to grow the channel. Also, if you are a subscriber, you can do all that YouTube stuff like liking and commenting. It always helps out with the videos. With that out of the way, let's dive into the story of Link Global SPAC and Alex Rodriguez. Okay, so starting up, we have this video here from A-Rod talking about the merger deal with Link Global to bring them public. Let's take a listen. This is the first I saw about this on Twitter/X.
We are super disciplined, and we'd rather not do a SPAC and take something public unless we felt really passionate about it. We're long-term thinkers, and our core values are aligned. I mean, it's such an exciting space to think that this is a $1 trillion business annually opportunity, and to connect the unconnected, to think that, you know, Charles and Link can connect over 1 billion people, more than we have today. And if you think of Amazon, Ed, how they've disrupted the retail business. What Link is the disrupting business where you have these cell towers where you would need a football field or two to provide. Charles has created one that his satellites go in the size of a pizza box, and then you send them to orbit. And over the next 5 years, there should be hundreds, if not thousands, of these up at orbit.
Okay, so that was the video here from A-Rod, and yes, he does make it sound very exciting. Massive opportunity going from these massive cell towers to pizza box size satellites that can provide connectivity straight to phone. But let's remember here, it's basically his job to promote this company and this deal. Now, when these guys bring companies public via SPAC, they literally get shares that are called promote shares. Like when Chamath went public with Virgin Galactic, he got all these promote shares for like 0.17 cents, and the shares, you know, were worth $10 per share. So they get a pretty good deal. Literally calling it promote shares. So, I mean, that's what they do. They promote the company and make it sound good, and make it attractive to investors and try to get the deal fully funded. I would take all of this with a grain of salt. It's just, yes, Link does have that history. Yes, they did develop that technology, but I would have a lot of concerns around this. And, you know, it hasn't worked out too well previously for space companies going public over the last couple years. So if we take a look, First off, Intuitive Machines. This is the most recent one to be going public. It did have a massive spike, and this is kind of common with SPACs where they have a quick, big spike followed by a massive drop. Now, I can't advise you to try and buy in and get out during these spikes because they're so quick and it's hard to get in on the very first day of trading. When they originally go public, it's like you don't even see the shares available. So, really, I would just steer clear. But I did notice that it seemed to steady around $10 where it went public. So I thought to myself, okay, this isn't bad. Finally, I have a SPAC that's like, holding steady around where they went public. But then we did have the collapse all the way down to under $2 per share. And now investors in Intuitive Machines are not looking very happy. They do have an exciting satellite going to the moon. They do have some interesting contracts with NASA as a part of the CLIPS program, and potential opportunities are there, but clearly investors in this one haven't done well. Same with Virgin Galactic. They also had a big jump. They were in on the meme stock craze. Back here, Chamath got, those really cheap promote shares. He promotes the stock. He sells out somewhere in here a few sales. Obviously does very well. The retail investors do not do so well if they continue to hold, and now we're down to, $2 per share. So not even talking about the company themselves here, just talking about how investors have done on these SPACs, very poorly as well with Virgin Galactic. Even Rocket Lab here is not immune. Now, I love Rocket Lab. I talk about them a lot. I think they are a great bargain at $4.40 a share, and I would buy more here if I didn't have shares. However, it has to be said, they went public at $10. Yes, they had their nice jump to 17, which made everyone feel good. The collapse did follow. And the other thing I do have to say is, I try to be realistic with this channel and honest, and this might not be a popular thing for me to say, but Rocket Lab has made a lot of progress in the 2 years since 2021. And, right now they're trading at $4, which I think is undervalued. But back in 2021, before they made all this progress, to be trading at over $18 per share, I'm sorry, I just don't think they were worth that at the time. I hate to say it, but they were quite far away from profitability, have to build out this whole Neutron rocket. I mean, we're still looking at probably another year at least until profitability. So at that point, yes, I don't think they were worth 18.6, despite how much I love the company. Just being honest with you. So when you get these spikes, when they go public, I think you do have to be very careful about buying these companies. And I've just put a rule in place for myself. Don't buy any of them in the first year. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Astra, even worse. Of course, they are on the verge of bankruptcy right now, pretty much out of money. They had to do several reverse splits, but they're still barely clinging to that $1 per share mark. I believe they're valued around $30 million right now. Used to be a multi-billion dollar company. Investors have done extremely poorly, obviously. So, we do have a quick article here talking about the merger. The company, we don't have a lot of data yet. We don't have the investor presentation yet. They'll still come out with that and talk about their projections for the financials going forward, and I will be interested to read that through. But I don't think this company is going to be making a lot of money for a few years now, and they are expected to be valued at no less than $800 million upon the closing of the transaction. The CEO did have some comments about the company, so let's take a listen to that.
Well, Link invented this technology. You go back to 2015 when the original idea was created. Many people thought this was impossible. And we, then invented all the core technology to connect to the standard phone already in your pocket with no chain to the phone. People thought that was crazy thinking. Not only did we invent the tech, we then proved it.
So yeah, they did develop the technology, very impressive and all that, but that doesn't necessarily make them a good investment. The other thing is, this isn't the first time I've talked about this company on the channel. AST Space Mobile is another player in the same space, providing direct-to-phone connectivity. And back in April, they did announce that they made the first ever voice call phone-to-phone via satellite. And these are completely unmodified smartphones, not special satellite phones. Pretty cool moment for AST and their Blue Walker satellite. However, then Link came out and claimed that they didn't think AST's call was legitimate. They basically said that there was no video proof of it happening, so it didn't happen. CEO comes out and says, I don't think they did it. I don't think it is working. To me, this is pretty juvenile and pointless because, you know, Link comes out with their two-way call taking place on June 1st. So just a little bit after that April 25th call, extremely close between the two. It's like a race. But really, who cares who made the first call? What I care about is, can the company scale up? Can they get all those satellites into orbit? Can they make it a profitable business? What are their margins? And how many customers can they get? How fast are they going to grow? All those things. Like, which one was first? Let's stop arguing about this. It's ridiculous. So the other thing with Link is that they've said that they can do video texting via satellite and two-way voice calls. Video texting, I believe, would be MMS messages, multimedia messages, so that's not full 4G or 5G connectivity. AST has said they've demonstrated 4G connectivity, and also the other thing is AST worked with different cell providers in setting up the testing. I believe Rakuten and AT&T were involved in that, so it's not like they would have just lied about this on their own either. I don't think there's some big conspiracy going on with AT&T and all these other companies to try and pretend that they were before Link. I really don't think anyone cares about that. So I just find it's not a good look for Link to be arguing about that. And you know what? May the best company win. It's not who's there first, who does it the best. Apple wasn't the first MP3 player, but their iPod was definitely the most profitable one, which is what investors should really care about. So that's Link. Obviously, you all can make your own decisions, buy it if you want. Personally, I would not touch it for at least a year. That's just my rule around SPACs, and even beyond a year. I really don't think I would buy into this one, just being honest. I think they have, you know, they're talking about being an $800 million company at least. This is a business that needs to have massive amounts of spending up front before you can get those satellites into space, get profitable. We have Amazon's Kuiper talking about doing direct-to-cell connectivity. We have talk about SpaceX having new Starlink satellites down the line that can do direct-to-cell connectivity. Obviously, AST is working on it as well. They're struggling a little bit with funding right now, from what I understand, although I haven't been following them as closely. And I really just think the amount of funding you need in this business is very tough. They're not going to be making money for a while. So, yeah, I don't think this is one that interests me personally. But let me know down in the comments if you are interested in investing. I'd certainly be interested in hearing your counter arguments and your own thesis around the company. Always open to hearing the other side of any argument as long as we keep it civil. I think that's really the best way to learn. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this interesting. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Hope you have a great week. Bye for now.